You want to know the real reason some women rise while others remain stuck. It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's mindset. Smart women don't follow the crowd. They rewrite the script. And if you're ready to stop playing small, it starts with how you think. Not like them. Not like before. Differently. You want to know the truth about why some women break through every barrier while others stay stuck, waiting for the right time, the right approval, the right opportunity. It's because smart women have learned the hard truth early. Seeking approval is a prison, and they've decided to set themselves free. They no longer wait for a green light to live boldly. They give themselves permission. They understand that the world will always have opinions, but they refuse to let those opinions define their path. This mindset, this unshakable self-trust, is what separates them from the rest. They don't need a round of applause to validate their choices. Their clarity is louder than the crowd's noise. From the time we're young, we're taught to be nice, to be liked, to make sure we don't ruffle feathers. We learn to smile when we're uncomfortable, to downplay our achievements, to shrink ourselves in the name of being accepted. Smart women? They unlearn all of that. They understand that respect matters more than approval. They refuse to water themselves down to fit in small spaces that were never built to hold their power in the first place. They stop showing up as a version of themselves designed for someone else's comfort. Because when you try to please everyone, you end up betraying yourself. A smart woman walks into a room and doesn't scan for acceptance. She brings presence. You feel her before she speaks, not because she's loud, not because she demands attention, but because she knows who she is. And that kind of confidence is magnetic. It's rooted in self-awareness. She's not perfect, but she's present. She's not fearless, but she's unapologetically real. She owns her story, the good, the bad, the rising, falling, and because of that, no one can use it against her. That's real power. Knowing yourself so completely that the world can't shake you. She doesn't waste time chasing trends or mimicking success formulas that don't align with her truth. She creates her own rules. And when someone tells her she's a too much, that just confirms she's doing it right. That just confirms she's doing it right. Because a too muchy only means she's no longer manageable, no longer controllable, no longer trying to shrink into something digestible. Smart women refuse to dim their brilliance to make others feel brighter. They know that their power is not a threat. It's a call to rise. And if someone can't handle that, they're not her people. People will question her, challenge her, even try to label her as difficult. But she doesn't take it personally. She knows that when you stop living for approval, you start leading. She's not here to fit in. She's not here to fit in. She's here to elevate. And leadership isn't about being liked. It's about being clear. Clear in vision, clear intention, clear in impact. Approval is fleeting, but alignment, that lasts, that builds, that transforms. She'd rather be misunderstood standing in her truth than adored while living a lie. This is what smart women understand at their core. Your power can't be borrowed. It can't be given to you by applause, attention, or permission. It comes from within. The world will keep testing you, questioning your choices, trying to fit you into their mold. But when you stop living for their yes and start building your own foundation, you become untouchable. Not because life gets easier, but because your inner voice gets louder, stronger, unshakable. That's how a smart woman thinks. And once she steps into that mindset, there's no going back. Standing out in a world that rewards conformity is not for the faint of heart. From the moment we step into society, we are told how to speak, how to speak, how to look, and even how to dream. How to dream. How to dream. We handed a script and expected to follow it quietly, obediently. But smart women, they rip that script apart. They realize early on that playing it safe only guarantees one thing: a life that looks good on the outside but feels hollow on the inside. They don't chase normal. They don't strive to fit in. They crave meaning. And that meaning is found on a path few dare to walk, the path of being different. Different is uncomfortable. Different means you're constantly questioned, misunderstood, and at times even rejected. But that's the price of greatness. Smart women know that the world won't always understand their choices. They don't need it to. They're not trying to win the popularity contest. They're playing a whole different game, one where purpose beats praise every time. They've learned that being different isn't a flaw. It's a sign they're not settling. It's proof they're evolving. While others are busy copying what's already been done, they're out here, building what's never been seen before. Smart women speak truths that shake the room. They make decisions that don't always make sense to others, because their vision sees further than today. They don't fear being called too ambitious, too intense. Those are just labels people use when they can't understand power in its raw form. And that's what thinking differently is. It's raw. It's real. It's disruptive in the best way possible. It challenges the norm, bends expectations, and creates space where there was once silence. Smart women don't whisper when the moment calls for thunder. They bring it. All of it. There's a dangerous comfort in blending in. It gives you the illusion of acceptance, but that acceptance comes at the cost of authenticity. Smart women refuse to trade their uniqueness for approval. They don't hide their edge, their voice, or their fire to be palatable. Because they've seen what settling does. It dims your spark. It buries your brilliance. And smart women are not in this world to be invisible. They're here to be undeniable. They'd rather be the woman who stands alone in her truth than one of many lost in the crowd. Every step they take, every move they make, is a conscious rejection of mediocrity. They don't wake up asking, "How can I be accepted?" They ask, "How can I be impactful today?" That shift in thinking, that courage to be original, bold, misunderstood, is what separates them from the noise. And the irony? The very things people once mocked them for become the reasons they're celebrated later. Because the world always catches up to the ones who dared to be different first. So they keep going, even when it's lonely, even when it's lonely, even when it's hard, even when the world tells them to tone it down. Tone it down. Because smart women don't fear being different. They fear being average. Average is safe, but it's forgettable. And a smart woman didn't come here to be forgotten. She came to lead, to innovate, to break the mold, to break the mold. Because she knows the path to extraordinary has never been walked by those who chose to blend in. In a world obsessed with grinding, they're not here to prove how much they can do. They're here to do what matters. They understand that life isn't about checking boxes. It's about living with intention. While everyone else is rushing, competing, and burning out, smart women are moving with clarity. They don't run in circles chasing recognition. They walk forward with purpose. Because when your moves are rooted in meaning, you don't have to scream to be heard. Your actions speak for you. Smart women have nothing to prove. They know who they are, and they're not driven by fear of missing out or the pressure to keep up. They don't hustle just to look successful. They operate from a deeper place, from alignment. Every yes they give is tied to their values. Every no is a boundary that protects their peace. They know the strength it takes to stay rooted when everything around you is trying to shake you. Emotional maturity is not about being emotionless. It's about having the discipline to use your emotion with purpose, to feel everything fully, but act from a place of clarity, not chaos. This emotional depth allows smart women to connect in ways others can't. They see what's beneath the surface. They pick up on energy, on nuance, on what's not being said. That's why their words carry weight. That's why their presence shifts rooms. They don't just hear, they listen. They don't just speak, they reach. And that ability to connect, to understand, to empathize, it's not softness, it's influence. In a world that's starved for realness, smart women show up with the courage to be exactly who they are, emotions and all. They know the price of emotional suppression. They've seen what happens when women are told to disconnect from their hearts to survive. It creates burnout, bitterness, and a shell of who they were meant to be. So they choose another way. They lead with both head and heart. They make decisions not just from logic, but from soul. And that balance, it makes them powerful beyond measure. Because they're not afraid to feel. And that's what gives their voice depth, their presence resonance, and their journey meaning. And maybe the world still tells them to toughen up. Maybe it still tells them to play smaller, speak softer, smile more. But smart women have stopped listening. They've redefined what strength looks like. It's not about being unshakable. It's about being fully human, fully awake, and still rising. It's the kind of strength that leads with compassion, that stands firm in truth, that chooses depth over image. Because, in the end, it's not the woman who hides her emotions who changes the world. It's the one who harnesses them. Smart women are not afraid to reinvent themselves again and again, if needed. They understand that growth isn't linear and evolution isn't a one-time thing. While others cling to the comfort of their past identity, smart women shed their old skin without fear. They let go of who they were to become who they are meant to be. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's messy. But they embrace that discomfort because they know transformation never comes from staying the same. Reinvention is not about starting over. It's about rising deeper, sharper, more you every single time. They don't wait for permission to change. They don't seek confirmation that it's okay to want more, to want different, to shift directions. Smart women give themselves full access to evolve. They understand that outgrowing people, places, and patterns is not selfish. It's necessary. They don't fear walking away from what no longer serves them because the goal isn't to remain familiar. The goal is to grow into a version of themselves that feels aligned, powerful, and alive. And that takes courage. Courage, courage to break old habits, courage to disappoint people, courage to start chapters no one saw coming. Smart women aren't attached to their titles, their roles, or even their success. They know that identity is fluid, that just because they were one thing yesterday doesn't mean they have to be the same thing tomorrow. That flexibility gives them freedom. Freedom to change their mind, to shift gears, to pivot when the vision evolves. While the world clings to labels, smart women stay open. They give themselves room to expand. They understand that who they are becoming is far more important than who they've been, far more important than who they've been. So they keep growing, keep learning, keep stretching into their full potential. What makes them unstoppable is that they're not defined by a single narrative. You can't put a smart woman in a box and expect her to stay there. She's the woman who walks away from a successful career to chase something more meaningful. She's the one who breaks cycles in her family, who builds what's never been built before, who rewrites the story even when the ink isn't dry. And when people say, she's changed, they smile. Because yes, she has. That's the whole point. Stagnation is not an option. Smart women evolve or they evaporate. There is no in-between. It's not that reinvention is easy. It's that it's worth it. Smart women feel the fear. They face the resistance. They hear the doubts in their own mind. But they do it anyway. Because staying the same out of fear is a silent kind of death. They choose the growing pains over the numbness of routine. They're willing to look foolish for a moment, to become fearless for a lifetime. They understand that the journey of self-discovery never really ends. There's always another layer to unfold, another truth to unlock, another level to rise into. And while the world may call it unpredictable, unstable, or inconsistent, smart women call it freedom to evolve, the freedom to expand, the freedom to be dynamic, multidimensional, and ever-changing. They don't live for stability. They live for authenticity. And that requires the willingness to tear down who you were in order to build who you were always meant to be. Reinvention isn't a crisis for them. It's a calling. It's a calling. It's a calling. A declaration that they are not done yet. Not even close. Smart women understand the difference between noise and truth. In a world where opinions are louder than facts and trends drown out authenticity, they don't let the chaos distract them. They're not driven by the algorithm of popularity. So they're led by their inner compass, by wisdom, not hype. While others chase what's trending, smart women listen to something deeper, something unshakable. They don't need the world to agree with them in order to act. They move in silence when needed and speak when it matters. Because their clarity is their compass and they trust it completely. They've learned that trusting your intuition is not a soft skill. It's a survival skill. Smart women don't ignore the voice inside that whispers when something is off, when something isn't right, when something isn't for them. That inner knowing has been shaped through experience, through trial and error, through walking into rooms that looked shiny on the outside, but were empty on the inside. And now, they've trained themselves to listen. They don't override their instincts to appear agreeable. They don't betray themselves to avoid discomfort. When something doesn't align, they feel it in their bones and they act on it. This kind of discernment is rare because it takes more than intelligence. It takes emotional maturity, spiritual depth, and brutal honesty with oneself. With oneself. Smart women don't lie to themselves to keep the peace. They face hard truths head on. They question everything, their patterns, their choices, their motivations, and in doing so, they gain something the world can't take from them: self-awareness. They're not perfect, and they don't pretend to be. But they're awake, aware, and that makes them dangerous in the best way possible. Because when a woman sees clearly, she can't be manipulated. They're not impressed by noise. Not everyone's opinion matters to them. They've built strong boundaries, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. They understand that not every voice deserves a seat at your table. Smart women know that advice without understanding is just noise, and criticism without insight is irrelevant. They protect their mind, their energy, and their spirit from anything that tries to confuse their path. They don't over-explain. They don't defend every decision. When they know what they're doing and why, they don't need validation. They are rooted in something deeper: truth. Smart women don't chase clarity. They create it. They take time to reflect, to disconnect from the noise and reconnect with their voice. Whether it's through silence, solitude, journaling, prayer, meditation, or simply asking the hard questions, they go inward. That's where they find direction. That's where they align with purpose. Because clarity doesn't come from the outside, it's built from within. And once they find it, it becomes their filter for everything. Who they spend time with, what they say yes to, what they walk away from. Clarity becomes their armor in a world full of distraction. In the end, it's not about being the loudest. It's about being the most aligned. Smart women don't need to scream their truth to be powerful. Their presence says enough. Their decisions say enough. The way they move, with intention, with wisdom, with quiet certainty, that says everything. They're not moved by the storm. They are the storm. They are the storm. And they walk through life, not with arrogance, but with unshakable clarity. Because when a woman knows who she is, what she values, and what she refuses to tolerate, she becomes unstoppable. Not because she's perfect, but because she's anchored. And that kind of woman doesn't just survive in the noise, she transcends it. So here's the truth. Smart women aren't born, they're built. Built through fire, through failure, through fierce choices no one else was brave enough to make. They don't follow paths, they create them. Follow paths, they create them. They don't shrink to fit the world, they rise to reshape it. And in every room they walk into, in every space they take up, they carry one powerful message without even speaking it out loud. I think differently, and that's why I lead. Lead. Because being a smart woman isn't about being the loudest, the prettiest, or the most liked. It's about being the most real, the most fearless, the most aligned. And when you choose to live that way, fully awake, fully aware, and unapologetically yourself, you don't just change your own life. You give every woman watching you the courage to change hers, too.